Hello there. Thanks for joining me again. I hope you're well and safe wherever you are. It's been a bit of something of a year, hasn't it, so far? And we're not even halfway through. But it is June. The weather's fabulous. The skies are blue. The birds are singing. And yes, we just had a delivery of logs for the winter. It's the triumph of hope over experience, I suspect. But there you go. We're set up now. Um, what I wanted to talk to you about today is about information. It's about opinion, actually. One of the lessons I learned quite early on as a journalist is that you may look at a situation in the business world, whatever it is, and think about it and think, well, why are they doing that? Why is that company making that change? It looks like they're going to be going into this market. They're trying to strengthen the balance sheet. They're doing this. They're doing that. And you sit there in the office and you think, well, that's that then sorted. But if you actually pick the phone up and talk to people or meet them at a conference, not that that's very likely anytime soon, often you find out that you were completely wrong and what's going on is something else altogether. And of course, if you in business make decisions on the basis of what you think is happening, and then it turns out that something else altogether is happening, then you have made a bad decision that could cost you money or your job, even depending on whether you're in charge or not. So one of the things that Label Master, the Chicago-based supplier of hazmat labeling and software and consultancy and packaging and all sorts, thought to do, started a few years ago now, was to conduct a survey of initially of their marketing database of dangerous goods professionals to get their opinion on how they felt that they were able to do their job. Were they able to do their job? Were they given the tools to do their job? Did their employer understand the sorts of tools necessary to do the job properly? Did their line manager even understand what they did? And they came up with some very interesting answers, and Label Master continued to do that over a few years. And HCB has supported that and helped them get it out in the last couple of years. IATA has also come on board, which has spread the survey base enormously, at least in the air sector. And we were talking about doing that again this year, because one of the obvious benefits of doing it regularly is that you get a time series and you can see how opinions have changed and the level of confidence has changed, or how many companies are now using online systems for their DG compliance needs. And so that has been quite interesting, and it's also been great fun to go and present the results of this survey at the Label Master Dangerous Goods Symposium in Chicago in September every year, which this year will be a virtual event. So I don't have to go to Chicago. In a way, it's a shame, but seeing as how things are there at the moment, I probably wouldn't go anyway. And we talked a few months ago about whether to do the survey, in fact, if we weren't going to be able to be there and present it on stage then. And given that many people in industry have other issues on their plate, and this is not a normal year, so you wouldn't get a good set of results from a survey like that. And so initially we decided to put the thing on hold and not do it this year. And then more recently, Label Master, Rob Finn at Label Master had the idea. He said, well, why don't we have a smaller survey this year and look specifically at how people in the business are coping with the COVID-19 crisis and the problems it's thrown at them. We've seen how in many areas the supply chain has had to deal with very dramatic and rapid shifts in the level and nature of demand. And of course, when you're in the dangerous goods business, any change like that generates other problems. You've got to keep on top of things. You may be shipping or handling stuff that's dangerous that you haven't handled before. You've got to get the packaging right. You've got to get obviously the labeling and documentation right. You've got to find people to shift it for you. And so what we thought we'd do, rather than copy last year's survey and see what had changed, is to come up with a brief survey, which is now live, actually, just to see how the industry and how dangerous goods professionals around the world feel about their capability to cope with these major changes in their work. They may not be in the office. They may be trying to do all this from home. What happens then if you're using online compliance software? What happens to dealing with your clients, with your suppliers, with your colleagues, if everybody's working remotely? And I think this could give us a pointer as to how things may be different, if they are going to be different, after the crisis is over, assuming it ever is. I think I spoke last week, wasn't it, about how the travel restrictions in particular have eased road congestion, making necessary deliveries quicker and more economical, really, because there's less waiting time. There's trucks aren't stuck in traffic jams, and that's delivering a benefit not only for the vehicle operators themselves, the truckers and hauliers, who are being able to sweat their assets a little more, but for the environment in general. And I think one of the things that came up out of that was the possibility of nighttime running, out of hours deliveries, and so on. Maybe this survey that we're happy to support, once again, as HCB, will point us in the direction of how people are going to be working, even when the office is back open. If you're watching live, I've added a link, and you can just click through there and take the survey. It shouldn't take too long, just a few minutes. Hopefully we'll get enough responses to make this an interesting result, which we will look forward to sharing it with you probably around about the beginning of September, and quite possibly during the virtual Label Master DG Symposium, which I think off the top of my head is the second week of September. If you're watching on catch up on YouTube, I'll also put the link underneath this video so you can go straight to it. Like I said, it shouldn't take too long. Be interesting to hear from you, and it'll be interesting to see what the results are. Meanwhile, stay well, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.